Welcome back to the podcast, friends, folks, dear ones. I am excited to deliver a astrology inspired podcast today. This is going to be my first solo podcast in a couple of months, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I want to start out simply by saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing if you've been listening on Spotify or on Apple. If you have left a review, if you have connected with me online, Instagram, whether it's the podcast or my personal Instagram at Isabelle Wellman or Isabelle Wellman Podcast. And thank you for your love and for being here, for your time, for listening. I truly hope that this podcast is impacting how well you live. I want you to live a well life. My last name is Wellman. I'm not sure how much more clear it could be that I am on this journey of accepting myself as I accept others, accepting my vulnerabilities, my wounds, my traumas, my inner child, my inner sister, my inner mother, my inner father, just as I accept all those around me. As much as a podcast is listening and me speaking, my favorite thing to do is to listen to others. I have a deep fascination of the stories of another's life. And I truly believe right now, as someone who is initiating themselves in ways that are fresh and raw, and I don't see the ending. I don't see the path. I'm not sure how things are going to work out or how they will land. And my biggest factor of movement forward, of initiation, being love, ecstasy, bliss, embodying the future, embodying what it is I crave and living in it now so that I can bring those in the best ways possible, in ways I cannot formulate or plan or control. And the biggest thing that I have learned in the past few months, especially as we've had Saturn move into Pisces, we'll talk a lot about that today, and especially we have a new eclipse season, so the Aries Libra axis for the North Node and the South Node will be activated. Talk a little bit about that in this episode. Yet the biggest pieces that have stood out to me and that have been pushing me to that edge is meeting myself in my own time, in my own peace, in my own presence. What I mean by that, I've been meeting myself for an hour or 2 hours in deep practice, meditation, pleasure, coaching for love, sex, and relationship. And throughout this journey, finding my power, my personal power, and finally feeling a welcome, calm, and at-home wholeness of my own essence inside of myself, where I feel like I've connected with my personal power. And that's the biggest thing I want to share, and I want to show, and I want to encourage and push you towards. Because there is something so special about slowing down, getting simple, and knowing who you are, knowing who you really are, without the mask, without the filter, without any backstory. I want to know who you are in this very moment, not who you were yesterday, not who you were because of this incident or this way of growing up or this belief system. I want to know who you are right here and right now, because that is the most vital thing you could share and that you could grow off of is who you are now and who you're becoming tomorrow. Who you are now and who you're becoming tomorrow. Who you are now and who you're becoming tomorrow. Before we go any further, I do want to have a quick meditation so we can ground down into the space, so we can arrive here together. If it's available for you, if it is safe for you, please close your eyes, sit down in one spot, cross your legs, have your feet hit the floor, lay on your back with your knees bent, lay flat, whatever is going to serve you the best. If you're driving, please pay attention to the road and let this sink into the subconscious mind. I'm going to allow you to move through a minute of breathing through a 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale. I will guide you through this first minute. We're going to do 3 minutes. The last 2 minutes will be silent. So it's okay if you don't hear any noises. I have not left the building. Take a deep inhale into the body. Get ready. I'll count out the first round, starting in 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue at your own pace and witness how you feel in your body as you allow that breath to overcome you. What changes in your physiology and how you feel inside your body? Wherever you're at in your breathing, finish out your inhale and exhale pattern of 5 seconds and tune in with your body. What are you feeling? Are you feeling relaxed? Are you feeling tension anywhere specific? Are you feeling pumped up? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling tender? Do you have a certain itch coming up, or are you yawning a lot? Take inventory of where you personally are. The only person who can ever know where you are is you. How you feel, what you're thinking, what you need, what you want to communicate, what is feeling resistant in your body, what your edge is. No one else outside of yourself knows those answers. And for a moment, I want us to imagine that there is a spigot above our heads from a nice, clean, and pristine mountainside. And this spigot is sending a drop of water every few seconds on your head. It's that sound that goes plop, 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 very slow, and you feel the jolt of the sensation of the water because it's only a single droplet that is plopping down upon your cranium, absorbing into your hair follicles, into the skin, into the body. This water comes from a place of divine memories. It has all of the knowledge and logic and intuition of all of the travelers to pass this mountain, all of the creatures who frolic and make a home in the forest on this mountain, of all the snow that has gone through cycle after cycle of falling down to earth, turning into water, evaporating, and being released again in a new place. This water, initially, slowly but surely, going back into the soil, going back into the sea, and then back up into the sky, recycling itself over and over. The vibration of water holding so much knowledge, being able to change the vibration of the water by how we feel, what's exciting, what's frustrating, if we're sad, if we're happy, if there's music playing. And as you take this in, you begin to feel the water growing a little more steady. A trickle is now coming out of the spigot, and it's slowly moving over different areas of your head, over the front of your head, over the forehead, down the middle of your nose and off the tip, over the ears, down the back of the neck, over your eyes, cleansing you, cleansing your intuition, the pituitary gland, cleansing your sight and how you see, cleansing your word from your mouth, cleansing how you listen and receive through your ears. Moving a little faster now, the water picking up. The water is now moving over your body in a way where it's going over your throat, going over the heart, the solar plexus in the middle of the chest, going down over the belly, over the pelvis, over the sacral area of the body, and the sacral chakra. And this cleansing feeling is relieving. This cleansing feeling, it's revival, refreshment. It reminds you where you started and how you can restart in this very moment through the nourishment of yourself by meeting yourself where you are. You can stay here for as long as you'd like, feeling this water flowing over you, cleansing you, letting it soak up into your skin, feeling the change and shift in your body. Slowly but surely, you'll move your fingers when you're ready. Flicker the eyes open, welcome any movement into the body, and welcome to the podcast all over again, fresh and new and ready. And the big topic I want to talk about today is nourishing you and nourishing your inner child and knowing how to meet yourself in this space of healing, of wonder, of moving forward with patience, with ease, with curiosity. It's seeing yourself as the beloved one, as the partner you crave or seek in the world, or how you crave and seek the partner you have, or loving yourself as you love your child or a child that you know. And this is where we welcome in a new and complex time that is revolutionary. At the least, we are in the era of Saturn sliding into Pisces. We'll start with Saturn being connected to the sign of Capricorn, the ruler of Capricorn. And in Greek mythology, let me read it to you so it is right on time. But Saturn was, I'll slaughter the name, Kronos, and he had decided to eat his children because he did not want them to become king until his wife, Rhea, had fed him a stone in which he birthed his child Zeus. And thus Zeus ended up releasing the siblings that were eaten, I believe. And that is a really heavy beginning to Pisces. And to Saturn is what I mean, to Saturn. Because that's like, oh, it's depressing. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, it's tough and ruling and dictating and greedy, which can be some negative low roads of the planet. However, Saturn is here to bring us structure, stability, enhance our ability to respond to life. It is here to help us be disciplined, take action in ways that feel good for us, in ways that we need to, even if it doesn't feel good for us. And it's the finish line of making excuses for ourselves and for our life. And Saturn, being in Pisces, is a little complicated. It's a little uneasy because they're vastly different. Pisces, it's a water sign, whereas Saturn, it's earth, and that is a yummy mixture. Yet with Saturn being structure, responsibility, competitiveness, headstrong leadership, Pisces is mutability, being able to go with the flow. It is malleable. It's indifferent. It can be consumed, and it can consume us in a gulp. It can lead us to escape. It can lead us to be mystical and spiritual. It can lead us to heal. There's various aspects of Pisces. However, Saturn being in this, transiting from Aquarius, where we saw an uproar in technology and the web and social media and how we connect, how we speak, how difficult it can be to get our true ideas and voices out there because of now being able to cancel you online, which has become some sort of ruling dictator of how good you are in this world or if you're worthy of speaking your mind online. And almost a divination of who you are, what you stand for, and how you hold yourself. Because with this canceling will come, oh, well, I'll just not speak about this. And in that, consciously or not, hiding our truth or not speaking our beliefs about a certain truth, when that is the thing that we absolutely need to hear from one another so we don't feel so alone in the world. Technology can eat us alive, and that's from firsthand experience. It detaches us from human qualities, love, compassion, empathy, kindness. Hundreds of thousands of people troll online, which blows my mind that people have the time to do that or even feel that badly to do that, in which I hope they find help and they see the light, and that if they're robots, they just get destroyed or they blow up on themselves like a legit robot, just malfunction. Because we're in such a beautiful time if we can get a grip on our lives. I'm not sure if y'all felt it, but the new year just happened on the 20th or the 21st? 20th, when Aries, ding ding ding, came through, and it was the first day of spring, and the astrological new year began, and we had the shift in seasons. Although in some places it's still snowing, like where I am today. However, it will melt and soon it will be warm. But we're starting to see some blossoms on the tree, and the ground is thawing, and there's a newness in our lives, and we might feel ready and excited and eager. And like we know exactly what to do, and that we have the power to move through these new and exciting and elaborate and extreme and adventurous and nourishing ideas and events. Yet we must be prepared for the unexpected. And not that we know what's coming, of course, yet being able to witness ourselves in the naiveness and say, hey, I love you. You had no idea what could have come our way. And this is how you're being a conduit of one, awareness, acknowledging it, observing it, and how you're going to move through it. And so that would be the way that I hope we can move through the hiccups that are coming with the new experience that we may be traveling and embarking upon. Instead of holding ourselves hostage in this thought process of agony of, oh, you're so stupid, you're such a child, you'll never get it right, you're not worthy. Deleting those, not denying, but saying, hey, that's a part of myself that doesn't get a seat at the table because it's not helping me be a better me. And a simple tool you can add to your day is this going to help me be better tomorrow? Simply asking that question, is this going to help me be better tomorrow? Is a monumental shifter in your day, in your moment. Because instead of letting the thought or the idea or the reaction simmer and build resentment in your mind, become a repetitive pattern to your neurological mind, where you're wiring nerve endings that don't need to be wired together anymore. The more that you acknowledge, hey, this is the thought I have, let me change it and do this instead. You're one acknowledging, which says, oh, I know this part of myself. By knowing this part of myself, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, the records it plays over and over again, like a bad soap opera, the more I can be in the present and say change. I can say, is this going to make me better tomorrow? The more I'm disconnecting from that, the more I'm unwiring this part of my mind. And I'm now in this state of, whoa, I might feel a little wobbly because I'm connecting new circuits. However, the more I change and go, instead, I am worthy. I am willing. I am curious. I am going to find a way that's better. Oh, I have an opportunity to respond. Oh, X, Y, and Z. The more you're going to become a new person, and that new person is going to attract new things into their life. This is how I would explain manifestation. However, I'm over the word manifestation. This is just a lifestyle choice. This is a way of operating. And this is nourishment from the inside out, because you have to be able to nourish yourself and able to nourish others truly and impactfully. And before I move on, I do want to read a little poem I wrote about the changing of seasons and see if you feel any resonance with it. So the name of it is In the Weeks Between, and here's how it goes. Winter passing and spring awakening is the sensations of crisp, fresh renewal. It's the long hours of down where the chill is succumbing to the small amount of warm wind particles rushing in to remind us of the new breaking of dawn, that we are internally defrosting, and whatever water we are submerged in must evaporate so we may start in this new form. Perhaps the waters of winter, in all of its forms, have sculpted and molded us as rivers do through tall canyons where eventually there's only a sandy wash to walk through. As I gaze adoringly upon the edge of the Sierra Nevadas, where they meet the valley floor, the dense gray-white clouds are stifling to hold onto their presence, outstretching their arms from one of the range to the other. There's a fatherly presence of the clouds engulfing the tops of the obtuse mountain tops, as if the mountains behold the secrets of the clouds. I can't help but wonder, if we could forgive as easily as the mountains, clouds, and other aspects of nature do. There are no grudges held as the seasons change. There's never a late or early time frame to begin whatever must be achieved. It simply is, always perfectly. Nature is always forward moving. never looking back and cursing those who have come before it, churning their insides with its equal and devilish and angelic wrath, never comparing itself to how it was the year before, never feeling remorse for the lives lost in its wake. There's so much movement that goes unnoticed by the human eye, perhaps because our patience, as a species, has expired down to the thinnest cord of a thread, far too close to its breaking point. It's bewildering to remember we all come from nature, this infinite black hole of bliss, shot through the vaginal canal of a woman to take our first intimidating breath upon arrival. We forget how similar we are to this very patient, slow, ever-divine world outside of us. Everywhere we look, we are there. We just forget. I just forget. The difference is needing to be present with embracing the intricacy of life with a deep breath of that fresh, chilled air as you stretch your own arms around yourself in a fatherly way and ravish in the magic of the similarities with the mountains, the clouds, the perfectly patient and ever moving forward seasons. Thanks for sticking through with some of my hiccups there. I always find it funny when I read anything on the podcast because I'll start to trip and mumble and get all nervous, and it's hilarious. And I'll tune you in to a little fact. Growing up, I had a speech impediment, which I think is hilarious and adorable. And I was in speech impediment classes for a few years, I suppose. I don't even remember when I started them, but I do know it was probably a year or two in elementary school where I was in those classes. And yeah, just couldn't say certain my S's, my Z's, my T's. I would write my S's backwards as well and my Z's backwards, and I was a mess. But here I am with a podcast, being able to say things for the most part. So if I ever stumble, you can just laugh at yourself and say, "Oh, cute little Isabelle and her speech impediment just shining through. It's all right." And that's how I want us to take advantage of acknowledging our inner child. How do you see them? Cute, adorable, doing their best, playful, or were they scared? And did they lack trust? Did they feel unsafe? Did they feel limited or restricted or as if nobody cared? Or was it a mix? Now's the time for you to retrospect. Think back and say, what was this like for me? Because I believe a big part in this Pisces, the Saturn moving into Pisces until it happened March 7th, and it will be in Pisces until May 24th of 2025. Yet it will go for a retrograde from August 31st to February 13th, of 2026. So during this time, we will be working with the feminine energy in a heightened way where you get to communicate that you do desire, not just need, but desire kindness, compliments, support. And the way that you communicate this with others is by communicating with yourself. And by getting to know your inner child, you get to know what you did not receive as a child. When you receive that from yourself in the now, as adult you, and you give that back to the child, you create a relationship with you and younger you, whether that comes up as you at 3, you at 6, you at 12, you at 18. Whatever part of you needed something and it was never given or taken away or bashed upon, now is the time to go in This can be done through meditation, through coaching, in your therapy sessions with your therapist, if they understand inner child needs. And this is a great time to learn what you needed, and to go even deeper, how to separate yourself from the child, knowing when they can go off and play, knowing when it's time for them to go be a kid inside of your heart, inside of your body, where you get to come as an adult, take on responsibility, be safe in your body, reassure the younger you, all is well, I got this. They can see you as a role model, and you harness your sexual energy. You harness your powerful energy, which I think are the same thing. You harness your communication, your charisma, your love, your generosity, your curiosity, whatever it is that separates you from them. But knowing that whenever you do need to balance yourself out, you have the inner child for play, for exploration, for adventure, for learning, for teaching, for comforting, for surrendering, for going slower. And it's to really ex-nay the victim mentality, quote unquote, that may be living inside you. Oh, I've always been this way. Oh, I just don't do this thing. Well, why don't you do this thing? Or why are you just this way? What is your stubborn ass decision that makes you that way? And what is so bad about shifting or finding empathy or finding curiosity about exploring ways of being that are more open, liberating, and free, and expressive above all else? Now is not a time that you could be too out there, quote unquote, with your spiritual, herbal, holistic practice. Now more than ever, it is a time to learn how to trust the greater universe, to learn how to trust who you are becoming and not who you've been. A great book I recommend for this time is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One by Dr. Joe Dispenza, because the internal game is the first game to play. And I usually approach this through physical activities, drinking half your body weight in water, moving your body once a day, or multiple times a day for an amount of time that you set a timer for, and meeting yourself where you are. Because if you are unable to meet yourself where you are, how do you expect to get where you want to go and who you want to become? That's foolish, and that's childish, and that's naive. And like I said earlier, it's not bad to be those things, yet now is the opportunity to learn as a child does, and take it upon yourself to research, to explore, to have discipline. And discipline doesn't have to be yucky and gross or hard or masculine. It gets to be a saving grace in a world where we can get lost in the sauce of everyone else's life and the moment of a press of a button on a social media app. You cannot think about yourself and think about another's life at the same time. You can compare them and go, wow, I'm not as good, or wow, they're too cringy, or wow, I can't believe they're doing this. Because what if you're saying those things, for example, but really you're just jealous that you're not a part of the game, or you're upset that you're not as open and accepting of yourself as they are accepting of themselves? What if you are just seeing the reflection in the mirror of what you wish you could do, maybe not in the same way, but in other ways in your life, to be outspoken, to be expressive, to share your truth, to start something that's scary for you, that is an edge, to push through that edge in a safe way so that you can become a new version of you over and over and over again? What if? What if? What if you let go of control on the reins of the horse that you are riding forward into the night of? and instead took that horse where you want it to go instead of just losing control. And it's not having control of the outcome that I want to emphasize here. It's having control of your experience, of your perception. Because your experience is your choice. You can show up to work and you can either hate it or you can love it. Of course, there's a million other options in between. But for this example, you can either show up at work and be mad, be upset, complain, have the same beef with the same people, hold back and build resentment inside of your own body. You are drinking the poison. You are drinking the poison. Or you can show up to work and you can feel excited. New opportunity, new day. You're so lucky. You get to talk to your work buddy. You get to find out new ways to be better at your job. You get to make new connections. This is life and this is your choice. Today I heard that there's only ever been 1 billion people to exist on the planet. Only 1 billion. And the Earth can actually, capacity-wise, hold many billions more. So the fact that you are alive and breathing and here experiencing life, no matter how it looks for you, is a insane phenomenon within a phenomenon. And how you are living and what you are choosing and what you're exploring is a fucking phenomenon. Let that sink in. Your soul basically competed with a bunch of other souls and you won. You won that game. You came out the vaginal canal. You shot into this life, whether it has lasted 5 seconds or 56 years. You are here. And this is a very Piscean topic. Death and rebirth, cycles, mysticism, spirituality, big revelations, flow, art, philosophy. It is being able to relate with the world with your emotional body. And when you hold back your emotional body, you hold back your real self. And you did not come here, you did not compete with all those other souls up in the ethers just so you could fuck around and not find out what your life could be. Moment of silence. Because you are not too late to be expressive, to find safety in yourself, to reach out for a hand to help you, to ask someone, hey, can I share this with you right now? Do you have the time? To know what your boundaries are, to meet yourself where you are. You have to show up to do the work. You have to show up to sit in meditation. You get to show up to change your mind. You get to show up to change your diet. You get to show up to change how you view the world. You get to show up to change how you view money. You get to show up and change how you view sexuality and how we talk about anatomy and what is allowed and what's not allowed. We are going to see such an enormous eruption in everything we've ever known. And it's so exciting because you are sitting in the hottest seat in the theater and you not only get to watch, you get to participate. So how are you actively participating in your life to affect your corner of the world to make a positive ripple effect? That's what this Pisces season is about. It's about getting in tune with your feminine side, with your emotions, with what you want. And something I thought about the other day was the GPS. So, where do you want to go? And this GPS, I thought about last year during this time, actually. And it was a way to understand your gifts, your power, and your success, or your gifts, your potential, and your secret. And it could be a mixture of the last two words. And by using your GPS and finding out your gifts, you narrow down and you harness the energy until you unlock the secret, or until you unlock your potential, and you notice and you witness that for yourself. And then you find your power in that potential. And then by having the power, you unlock the secret to life, which is following your own intuition, your own gut feeling, your own non-logical mind, your joy, what you know to be true without knowing how to explain it's true. You follow that to your success. And you simplify. You see that it's not a comparison game, and that the only gap you're measuring is the one with you yesterday. And how you track your milestones on this path that you're taking. And so to go a little bit deeper into this, your compass is your GPS. And so your compass goes deeper. Because in order to know where you're going with your GPS, you got to know what makes up the compass. And so the compass is made up of north, east, south, and west. And before all else, you got to know your values. I have talked about this on numerous occasions. I love talking about values. I'm actually, mic drop, going to be teaching a workshop on finding your top 5 values, going through it with everyone in an hour workshop. And I will be releasing that soon. You can sign up in the show notes. And then you can use your GPS or your compass. In your compass, the north is your nature, determines your emotions. So the nature of your being determines how you feel. And your emotions determine your connection to spirit. Your emotional body, how you express, connects you with what you know to be true. And your spirit is a reflection of your word, because the more you're connected, the more you're going to be focused on what you say and how it impacts people and how concise or clear it is. But if you're not connected to spirit, you're not going to be speaking in a high frequency, or you're less likely to be speaking with integrity, with regard, with compassion. So it comes back to your word determining your nature of being, because your words are a vibration, and what you say is going to affect how you feel, how you're portrayed, how you perceive yourself. And I thought this was a really great guide to lead you to your original signature, which is you, authentic as ever, which in this Piscean era is a beautiful time to take off your mask. We do not have time to be victims. We do not have the time to be wasting away on social media. We do not have the time to be lying to ourselves, to be denying ourselves, to be unconscious. What we do have the time for is we have the time to show up and to say, hey, this is what I need. And say, hey, friend, you piss me off because you're so loud and you're so big and you're really good at this and I'm not as good, and it makes me feel this way. And if you, as a person, can go up to your friend and honestly, genuinely, respectively say that and preface that conversation with, hey, I want to talk to you about something that's been irritating me. Are you open to listening, and can you not take it personal? Which I hope by now we aren't taking things personally. Taking things personally will destroy you. Taking things personally is the first thing you have to get over in this lifetime. That is the number one thing. That was the first thing that set me on this learning path, this learning journey, this growth journey, because I had to stop giving a flying rat's ass about what anyone else thought or said, and it still bugs me at times, but I remember, don't take it personal. You detach it from your own beingness, it doesn't affect you. It just doesn't. It does not affect you. Just like people being drag queens doesn't affect me, so I'm not, like, I don't care. I care, like, in the sense of, oh yeah, that's great. People expressing themselves. But I don't care because it doesn't affect me. It's not inhibiting my life. Not saying that I am not feeling sorry or bad about that situation going on. Our government, as I've said, is going to be testing us, and we get to act, if you know what I'm saying. So, if you're lacking faith or trust, or lacking in faith and trust in life, this is probably going to make you feel a little scared, a little fearful, which might make you feel guilty. And I want to be here to let you know that it is up to you to make amends with yourself so that you can take your mask off, that you can be brutally honest with life, declare your wants and desires, and start taking the actions to get you closer to where you want to be. A practical example of this that I have is for my own life, and this is nothing glamorous. However, I have been on such a ride the last couple years, and I finally arrived at a place where I feel like I know my personal power. I have detached from all other people, and I know who I am, which is such a radical experience. And every day it's a challenge and it's new, so I'm always practicing. Yet it's taking the time out of my own life to practice, whether that be meditation, self-pleasure, so on and so forth. It's working through tools, taking the time, an hour, 2 hours, once, twice, 3 times a week, and not seeing it as a waste of time. Not seeing it as, oh, that's too much. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Because I'm sure you scroll for an hour total a day. So what if you replace? That's all it is. You're replacing activities. You replace the death scroll for the meditation, for the inner child practice, whatever you're doing. And there's so many resources online and in schools and in therapy that you can use. It is not hard to find the help. What is hard is you admitting to yourself that you would like the help and asking for the help. I have been there. I have done that. And I was approached last October to be a part of this 10 coaching session experience with a beloved friend who will be doing a podcast with, and you'll hear all about it. So I don't want to say too much yet. It's all about love, sex, relationships. I've been very dim in my sexual power because I'm afraid to speak my needs to my partner. Oh my God, for crying out loud, what? And so when my expectations are in my head and my expectations are not met, who's eating the poison? Me, because I'm not speaking what I want from him, what I want to do for him, with him. And then it builds up. and it builds up until I explode, and then it comes out the wrong way, and our communication is off, and it has not been like that since. It's very upfront. I can take a minute or two to warm up to the bath water. But because I've done this today was my last session, or yesterday, if you're hearing this on the day this podcast releases on the 29th. So it's been 6 months that I've been doing these 10 sessions bi-weekly, or once or twice. We had like 1 week or no weeks in between. And I am a radically new person because each and every session we did, for me to practice with myself communication. What do I want? What are the actual acts that I want? What is it I desire? And being reiterated those desires every other week or week by week. You go, oh yeah, what does that look like? Oh yeah, how can I explore this? And it's been revolutionary for who I am, because my sexual power is my personal power. My kinetic energy and my sensational energy are one. And how I hold myself in these actions is everything. And the biggest takeaway I have learned is that every time I say I'm too busy, I meditate longer. I've been meditating for at least an hour lately. And for me, that's what works. For me, that has been working very well. And it doesn't always have to be a complete hour. Sometimes it's a little shorter. Yet, it has been revolutionary because I'm practicing, setting aside the time to practice, getting in the feeling of what it means and looks like to be in that power, to be in these sensations, to be in these desires, to work through what I want, to practice what I want. And there's nothing quite like that. So if you're not practicing with yourself what you want, how you want it, speaking it out loud, working through the hard things, which I don't believe is totally accessible alone, why this coaching was so monumental for me, that we need those people to hit us with the things that are tough, and to hold the space, and to be patient, and to wait until we blossom. We open up, whether we cry or we have to say, hey, I need a little bit. This is what came up for me. This is what happened. I need to pause. That was a little bit too hard of an edge, but thank you, because it showed me a part of myself that is hurting, that is wounded, that needs love and compassion and kindness. It needs tangible help, needs emotional support. And the hardest part is getting to this level of accepting help. So I cannot recommend it highly enough, whether it's working with me or someone else you enjoy in the ethers. But it's the most monumental thing you can do for your life, especially if you're someone who is high achieving, go-getting, and wants to learn how to serve, wants to stop valuing money in the sense of it being a be-all, end-all, and instead seeing it as a gateway source of pleasure and fun and excitement and adventure, and knowing that you're somewhere in between money being evil and money being goddess, and knowing that where you stand with it and how you can welcome it in. And I'm just talking in the aspect of money, but this could be love, this could be friendship, this could be a career, this could be your relationship with food. I think this could be with any relationship you can think of. Your relationship with your vehicle, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with nature, your relationship with technology, your relationship with the government. It's endless. And right now we're in such a potent time to revise these relationships with everything, starting with us. And when we start with us, we learn our relationship with these other aspects of life. Something Oprah said that was, this ain't gonna be word for word by any means, but basically, she's probably not the first one to say this either. But in order to get where you want to go, you have to have clarity on where you're going. And I think that's where most of us get stepped up. We have no fucking idea where we want to go, but we think we're going to be millionaires, we're going to live lavishly, we're going to work remote, we're going to have this, that, and the other thing. But if you don't have at least an idea, if you don't know what you want, if you cannot muster up the courage to express what you want, you will not get it. So, to come back to my own personal life, I want to be an actress. I want to be an actress. I want to be in movies. I want to be on the red carpet. I want to be using my spectrum of emotions and my ability to shapeshift into characters, because it would be so much fun and invigorating and exciting and elating, and travel's involved, but family can be involved, and how this would connect me with new people, and my creative side would get to splurge. And maybe I could even do my own stunts in movies. I could play the spy I've always wanted to be, but without actually being a spy and being tied down to the government side of things. I know, like, maybe that sounds really wild, but this is the level of honesty I want you to get. Why do you want the thing you want? And can you be brave enough to say, yes, this is what I want? So for me specifically, the house that Saturn is currently transiting through, aka you have a natal birth chart, and then you have the current date chart. My natal birth chart, Saturn is in the next house, my 6th house. But right now, it's beginning to move through the 5th house. The 5th house is Leo. The 5th house is creativity, spotlight, being seen. And that has been a practice of mine this year, to be playful and professional, but also to be seen. And the biggest thing I want to say about this placement, because this is going to be different energetically in this essence, determining, depending on what house Saturn is transiting through for you. But the biggest thing that has come up for me, that I hope this lands with you, is that you have to be willing to be seen. You have to be willing to introduce yourself as an authority figure. You have to be willing to show yourself. You have to be willing to mess up in front of hundreds and thousands of people. You have to be willing. You just have to be willing. That's the name of the game for Pisces season. Heal, accept, explore, and understand what your boundaries are. Understand who you are, who you really are, when you're not manipulating your surroundings, when you're not controlling the people around you, when you're not lacking trust or worthiness, when you are completely absorbed by love and knowing it's all perfectly working out for you, and what you want is going to happen. It's just a matter of how you act and what you follow, and if you can follow your joy. Because if you're following what feels good, how's it not going to lead you to the best feeling you've ever had, until it leads you to the next best feeling you've ever had? And knowing your routine, knowing your balance, knowing when you're being absurd in the sense of, oh, I don't need help. Well, I can do this alone. Oh, I'm a lone wolf. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, woe is me. That is just not the story. And that's not a story that is going to help progress humanity. Please, God, for the sake of your future children, if you choose to have them, work on yourself. Work on who you are. Say yes to getting emotional and sharing your story and learning how to evolve as a human being. That is the best thing you could do right now, in this time, especially as we take off into this new year. Nourish yourself like you would a baby, like you would a small animal, like you would a new plant you bring home, like you do your loved ones. And I hope that you do this for yourself. This backwards way of thinking of, oh, I have to get it before I can feel about it is wrong. Like, to get to where you want to go, you have to feel what it's going to feel like to get there, because that's going to bring it into your life. That's going to show your authentic self, not this self that is hindered by lack mentality and blockages and scarcity, whatever. It's going to be you authentically being honest, because your truth is exactly what you're experiencing in this moment. And you get to decide, oh, am I going to share my truth or deny my truth? I hope above all else you share your truth. And that is all I have to say for today's podcast. I hope that you are feeling ignited. I hope that you are feeling loved. I hope that you're feeling on the precipice of something new and tangible and exciting and big. I hope that you, above all else, know that it's safe for you to be who you are, especially here, especially now. And without further ado, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please, if you haven't, follow the show, subscribe to it, leave a review, share it with your friends on social media. This is how the podcast grows. I do no advertising besides the advertisements that are in the show, and they're mostly for people I love. And I don't get paid from any of the advertisements besides the Anchor one, but let me tell you, I only get paid per every 1,000 episodes, $1, and I only have a couple thousand listens, and I would love to grow that. I aim to be in at least a 10,000 listens by the end of this year. That would be chef's kiss, and I need your help to do it. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day and or night.